Well, of course, our motto for longevity is 90 for life, not 90 for 2 weeks, not 90 to feel better. It's 90 for life, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids. And today I'd like to talk about the history of mineral supplementation going way back to the beginning of time, during the hunter-gatherer days. We're talking thousands of years ago, and a hunter would kill an antelope with a spear or a rock or run him off a cliff, and they would die from the impact, and they'd cut them open and hold their liver and heart up in the air and chant and scream and all kinds of stuff as their ability to prevail over the animal, and then they would eat the liver and the heart, which had more minerals in it than the rest of the body. Okay, that's where we store minerals, particularly trace minerals, is in the liver. Okay, so the hunters would get that right off the bat. And then wood ash and wood for fuel was what should I say, wood was a universal fuel from the beginning of time when they had fires, whether it was in a fire pit or a fireplace or a fire stove, weapons. The fuel was wood. And there was byproducts. There was heat, and there was ash, and there was light, and so forth. And the ash, of course, was put into gardens and used as a fertilizer. Now, it was a wonderful fertilizer. And, of course, the people who did this thousands of years ago really didn't know why, but universally around the world, they did it. Turns out that, of course, the wood ashes are not ashes. 90% of that powder we call wood ash are really minerals that the trees sucked up out of the ground. So some wood ashes had 3 minerals. Some wood ashes had 6. Some had 18. Some had 25. Some had 30, 40, 50, and so on. And the people who live the longest, the blue zones of the National Geographic today, are ones which had a lot of minerals in the soil where the trees grew that they used for fuel. Now, unbeknownst to them, remember, they're getting all these minerals because the corn and the peas and beans and tomatoes and carrots and squash and onions would suck up these minerals as a fertilizer, and there would be great plant growth and more yields and so forth, and everybody got excited and told stories during trading and things. And so this got around. But what they did not realize was they were getting their nutritional minerals. Another source of nutritional minerals, of course, were dams and floodplains and that sort of thing. Now, the floodplains and volcanic ash was really minerals. The floodplains, every spring, the bottomland and floodplains would flood, as the name implies, and when the water would recede, it would leave silt behind, which are the minerals from mountains, hundreds, maybe even thousands of miles upstream, and farmers would plow that in every spring and renew the soil. Now, out in the prairie, where there was no flooding, and before they really had the ability to haul large amounts of wood with them for fires, they would use grass off the prairies for fuel. After a couple of seasons, the plants, the crops, would have sucked all the minerals out of the soil, none replacing, because there's no flood every spring out in the prairie. And it would, quote, the soil would play out, as they called it, because it wouldn't grow anything anymore, unquote, and then they would move on. We had to move because the soil played out. We had to move because the soil played out, and that was sort of the watchword of the day and why people move west in North America. They started out on the East Coast, and they slowly moved west as, quote, the soil played out. No more minerals in the soil, so plants couldn't grow. And, of course, the animals and people who ate the ashes from the grass, fuel, and so forth really did not do as well as the ones that used wood. Well, I want you to contact your Youngevity associate and get a hold of the book, Epigenetics, The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. Get the CD to go along with it, Public Enemy #1, great CD. And, of course, Rare Earths Ventures really goes into great detail, the history of minerals, what minerals do, and what their deficiencies cause. And you want to get the Hell's Kitchen CD to go along with that. And then the book, Immortality, again, tells a deep amount of the story. We have a new CD out. It's called Live Long and Finish Strong. Live Long and Finish Strong goes into a lot of research, including minerals and carbohydrate levels and all that kind of stuff and longevity. And so we also have to make an announcement. We have done some great things. Dr. Schwauser is one of my best buddies and one of my mentors. Really should have gotten a Nobel Prize for determining that selenium was an essential nutrient. And he and I were working on a way to get plant-derived calcium and phosphorus and magnesium into our products because the trace minerals we were using had calcium and magnesium and phosphorus, but the phosphorus was high, but the calcium and the magnesium were not that high. So we found a way to actually grow aloe, thousands of acres of aloe, and we fertilize it with our Blue and Minerals fertilizer, which has all the trace minerals which make the plants happy. It's kind of like the wood ashes of today, putting it in. And then we burn the aloe and get the ashes from aloe, which are very high in calcium and magnesium. And so now, instead of having inorganic sources of calcium and magnesium to make all the ratios correct, we're able to get the plant-derived calcium and magnesium from our aloe that was fertilized with the Bloomin' Minerals, which came from the mine, and so forth. And it's a big jump forward. And of course, this is patented and trademarked and everything like that. Nobody else can do the same thing. They might be able to do similar stuff, but nobody can do exactly what we're doing. We're so very proud of that, and Dr. Strauser would be proud of us and just making our products 1,000 times better and more correct. Okay, so people can't say, oh, it's artificial because you're putting in phosphate or something like that from ground-up rocks. No, it's all organic, plant-derived now. So we are really, really excited about this advancement. Contact your Youngevity associate, get the books, Epigenetics, Rare Earth Men Cures, Immortality, the CDs, Public Enemy #1, Hell's Kitchen, and Live Long and Finish Strong.